Alright guys, today we're here with Fraser from the Food Bank. It's project...
I-58 project.
I-58
Yep.
project, Food Bank and Hope
Hope Community Church.
Hope
yeah.
Community Church. I done my research.
That's good.
But what's some of the... Obviously, how long have you been doing Food Bank for?
Yeah, so we started, the I-58 project started in 2012 as a social action ministry of what was then called Great Elam Church, now called Hope Community Church.
Sounds like a lot of buzzwords.
Yeah, there is a lot of buzzwords there. But the whole thing for us was that we wanted to respond to the needs of our community and serve the needs of our community. Mm-hmm. And I think there's that aspect as well, isn't there, that churches always seem to want from their community, and this was a chance for us to actually turn that on its head and say we exist to serve our community rather than always asking. And we decided that we wanted to put it under its own banner in a sense, so that there were no barriers to anyone supporting or utilising the service. So we put it under I-58 banner, which comes from Isaiah 58, which shortly says, or in the can it says, feed the hungry, help the poor, reach out to those that are in need. So we thought if it's in the book, we should probably do it. And we started, and the first initiative that we put under that was Inverclyde Food Bank, which started in the September of that year. So this will be 8 years that we've been running now within the community, which is good.
What have you seen the difference from previous years and then obviously this year with lockdown, restrictions, guidelines, like what's that actually impacted the service you're able to provide and how you do it?
Yeah, absolutely. So at the heart of Food Bank and I-58 is this desire to bring hope to the community and hope to individuals. And normally when someone would come into Food Bank, they would have a one-on-one conversation with a member of the team. Mm-hmm. So it was, for us, it's more than just shopping. It's about, we want to help you out, here's some food to help you out, but actually we wanted to understand what is going on in your world, what is happening, providing a listening ear, hearing the story that has brought the person to this point, and then being able to signpost or find other help. But actually in many cases it was providing an opportunity for someone to talk to someone that wasn't a benefits officer or a social worker or whatever. And it's not that there was no consequences to what was said, because obviously there's protocol to follow in some circumstances, but it was about allowing people just to talk about what was going on. And so that was a huge part for us, and we would have many interactions with people coming in. Obviously with COVID, that really stripped back, that we weren't able to have people in the building, we weren't able to interact the same way. Mm-hmm. In the initial period of lockdown, we had to go to delivery service. Yeah. So we were relying on volunteers to deliver. More recently, we've been able to see people come up to the door to collect, but not able to come in. However, we've tried our best to maintain that personable link through phone calls and through interactions with people at the door to understand a wee bit more what's going on. Yeah. But without a doubt, the pandemic has had an impact on our service. Mm-hmm. And we believe that going forward, when we see the full impacts of this, not just on the economy, but within people's lives and home situations and within their financial situations, I think that probably well into 2021 we will see the need and the demand for our service increase. Yeah.
What has the increase been over the last year?
So actually what we've seen, if last year, so 2019, I've got my stats here, we fed just over 8,000.
It's a very technical notebook, by the way, ladies and gentlemen. There's highlighting marks and everything.
There is indeed. So we fed just over 8,000. This year, so from January to now, we've fed just under 6,000. Okay. So there has been a wee decline, and I think there's a number of reasons for that. I think there is the fact that there has been some government support put in place there. Mm-hmm. I also think that during the pandemic and the lockdown, the community came together in tremendous ways, and we saw lots of people springing up to respond to need. And that, in a sense, meant that while our service wasn't like left with nothing to do, we were still responding to the need. But
which is kind of what you want actually from your service, right? You want to work yourself out of
100%
out of a service.
Absolutely, and that's one of the things folk often talk about. Of you want to work towards there not being a food bank, and 100%. But one wise guy says the poor you'll always have with you. Mm-hmm. So we know that there will always be a need for our service, but seeing the community respond was great. Yeah. And it's definitely meant that we weren't shouldering the burden on our own, as it were, although that's never been, there's always been other people round about. But now that a lot of those services have folded, people have returned to work, People are no longer on furlough, then we're beginning to see the need beginning to come back to us again and beginning to respond to that. So I believe that probably going over Christmas and into the new year, that will change dramatically for us.
And this, I guess, especially as more and more the financial impact of like big organisations kind of starting to go under, there's most likely going to be a higher demand for
definitely
what it is. What's the process for someone coming in? If someone either knows someone, should set up with they themselves, what's the actual process for?
So we work on a referral process, a referral-based process, and we work with 137 referral agencies in our community, which goes right across the board, all the housing associations, the Health and Social Care Partnership, which is kind of social work and NHS together, as well as every educational establishment in Inverclyde can refer into us, and loads of other pathways of people that are out there working with people within the community, I suppose I'm going to say on the doorstep. Quite often we get a bit of kickback on the fact that we operate with a referral process, and folks see that as a negative. But in actual fact, in our mind, that's a positive. And there's a number of reasons for that. The first is that the referral process identifies people that are in need. So when someone gets a referral sent through to us and they come to collect, that's identifying this person is in genuine need. The other aspect of that is that when someone approaches another agency or their worker and says, I'm in need of food, well, that highlights to that agency that there is a problem there. And our hope then is that there is wider support put in place. But also these agencies are working day in and day out with people, and it's great in their general conversation to be able to offer that. So it's a kind of two-way thing. But for us, the referral is important for a number of other reasons, and that is that if we were to allow people to come and get food without a referral, then people could potentially use us as their supermarket and spend money on stuff that they shouldn't. And that doesn't help the problem in Inverclyde, that only makes it worse. Many people using our service do come from chaotic backgrounds, and so to allow folk to access the service without referral is just enabling that chaotic living. But also, the food that we give out has street value. And we've got to be careful to guard that in a sense. We have heard of occasions where food has been swapped for drugs, or in fact food's been exchanged for sex, as well as many other situations where people have maybe abused the system. And that's the great thing about the referral process and working in partnership with agencies where conversations take place. We're able to keep an eye and track how many referrals someone's had. We're able to see each parcel goes out as 3 to 5 days worth of food. So we're able to look and say, okay, this person's had X number of referrals within X number of weeks. What's going on there? And quite often that sparks a conversation with us and the service user to say, what's going on, what's happening in your world. Also sparks a conversation between us and the referral agent to say, what's going on here? Does this person need more help? And there's times in which we're able then to say, just no, you can't have any more. We've come to the end of the ability to support you. But the big thing for us is that when people give food or toys to our appeals for Christmas and all that kind of stuff, we want to handle those donations with integrity, and we want to make sure that those donations go to people that are in need and in genuine need. And the referral helps us to ensure that. It helps us to ensure that someone can't just turn up anywhere to get food or toys or supplies, that there is a measure of need, an assessment of need has been done. And that means that when folk give to us, they can trust that the donations will be used with integrity to support those in the community that are in need.
So that box you gave me that's in my car now, that
we don't talk about that.
We don't talk about that one on camera. Happy days. What are some of obviously we are a few weeks out from Christmas, chances are this will actually go out just before then. What's the kind of cut-off for people getting stuff to you for Christmas? Because obviously that's going to be on people's minds, but also there's most likely going to be just as much, if not more, need in the new year when people kind of lose that thought of others and the more focused on the new year, new me, all that.
Absolutely. Nonsense. So we are next Friday, whatever date that is, you can figure that out when we're talking, is the cut-off for stuff coming in that allows us to sort and prepare the packages. However, things that are coming in now, Christmas items will go out at Christmas, but they will continue to resource as well into the new year. So to kind of give you an idea, last year we created Christmas hampers. So our normal food supplies is 3 to 5 days worth of food. Christmas hampers is a Christmas Day meal.
Yeah.
So it's tried to, as much as possible, non-perishable items, trying to provide a Christmas Day meal with snacks and treats and stuff. Last year, 718 people were fed on Christmas Day through those supplies, and we distributed toy parcels that had, so over 1,000 toys went out to families in need, and they were brand new toys, they weren't second hand, brand new toys that were packaged and given out. And for us, it's about bringing the magic of Christmas to people who otherwise might go without.
Yeah.
And so the support of the community for that is absolutely essential. But even beyond that, and so, you know, one of the things that we do face quite a lot is people do reverse advent calendars, which is fantastic, but they end on Christmas Eve. And so folk turn up on Christmas Eve, but actually everything's went out by that point. But that's okay, because that stuff continues to be used into the new year. Selection boxes are broken down into individual chocolate bars that go out for play pieces and snacks and packed lunches and treats for people. So none of it is wasted. As much as possible, all goes out into the community.
And what are your standard year-round, like if you had a hit list of these are the things that we're always kind of needing to get, maybe things that people don't think about so much? Absolutely.
So the things that we definitely run short of is coffee. And a lot of people obviously have a preference between tea and coffee. And so if you get just tea, which we get loads of at times, but you're a coffee drinker, that can be difficult.
I'm looking at your shelf now, and the tea shelf is full of them, the coffee shelf.
Absolutely. Tins of meat, tinned veg is a big thing for us, as well as at times UHT Mill we look at quite a lot of that. But yeah, I would definitely say those items are the big items: tinned fruit, tinned veg, tinned meat, and coffee.
Okay. Anything else you want to talk about?
No, but apart from really to say a massive thank you, I'm going to look down the camera to this, a massive thank you to all those in the community who do support the I-58 project and who pick up extra items in their shopping and put it into the collection points in the supermarkets, or donate to us either practically or financially. We could not do what we do without your support. Actually, we're just a conduit for your support, and if it wasn't for Inverclyde looking to help their neighbour and love their neighbour, then many people would be without hope. So thank you very much. Thanks for having me on your wee podcast for a coffee.
No worries, and well, thank you for the coffee. Now let's talk about our wives.